and the other, like we might have to cover it with flowers, right? Right now it's still moist and pliable, so I can fix it fine now, okay? Just don't need too much air into it in the beginning. That's one of the factors. Okay, everybody good so far? Start to check that it's not getting too big. And it definitely needs some more here. But if I come all the way around a circle, can you see it's like a little bit better on this side? Okay, kind of makes sense also because it's not a circle, it's an oval, okay? Keep it circular at all times. And keep your string near you. Don't mix your strings up with anybody else. And don't let it get too big. If you get it too big, the fondant will not be on the cake. Okay? If the fondant's not on the cake won't look as smooth. Okay? The thicker the fondant is on the cake, the smoother it looks. I'm gonna actually say I'm in the right range. Okay? Now, I can smooth out the top surface like a figure 8 a little bit on the table, and that also like helps make sure it's all the same thickness. Okay? That's pretty massive pressure. Boy, oh boy. Here, hands. I need 2 hands for this. You have to get your fondant to stick onto the cake also with the same pressure. Okay? Don't be afraid of the fondant. Okay? If you don't apply the pressure, you're not going to have it smooth. Now, you're going to roll it up on here. If for some reason this was sticky or anything, just put down some more dusting flour. I roll it from the top, bring this over. Be careful, because we're going to have to clean this goo off in a second. Drape it, right? It's just like draping it just at the edge of the table. Can you guys see? Can you see? Okay. So just the edge of the table and let it release. This is when you're going to find the biggest difference between cake and the styrofoam, because it could break here, okay? Could break with cake, but it's less likely to break with cake than the edge of the styrofoam. That's why you had to bevel it, okay? And these sides, right? Like this side is pretty naked. Can you, I don't know, can you see? All right, that's the weakest side. This is like the whatever side, longest side. In a way, you know, if you are like, oops, you have a couple seconds to pick it up, okay? And just move it. It usually, believe it or not, picks up like less buttercream or whatever on your cake than you'd think. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of the sticky stuff. I don't want the sticky stuff on my table. If that caught the fondant, it could tear it off. The gravity is already stretching it even longer. Remember, you're doing this really, really fast, so gravity may stretch it less than when I'm talking. Okay, but you want this to attach to the top. Okay, so you need to apply the pressure I just squeezed your hands. Okay, you can actually apply more pressure on a cake. You don't want to squeeze the buttercream out, but if I press too hard on the styrofoam, what's going to happen to the pattern? You're going to see those bumps. Yeah, so be careful, okay? Remember, the thicker it is, the smoother it looks, okay? But I did apply pressure, okay? Now, who's done the fondant before? What do I do?
You gotta pull, well, not hard, but pull it enough so it comes down.
Yeah, it's weird. It's the opposite thing of what you think, okay? You know, like how, like, at your house, you have, like, maybe, like, dining room curtains puddling, you know? If you come straight down, you're gonna have tons of wrinkles, like dining room curtains puddling around your cake. You have to do the exact opposite thing that you think to get it here, okay? You have to lift it up, and then it, like, releases, okay? And then you're helping it with either the flat part of your hand, or you can use your fondant smoother here. And I'm kind of tugging a little like you tug pizza on your hand, but don't poke your fingers through it, okay? Remember, this is all within 5 minutes. And already, I like to use my hand. The less exposed sides of the cake are already getting more exposed, okay? But again, if I just go bunk down, these wrinkles are gonna stay in it, okay? And you want it to lie smooth, whether it's a square cake or not, it's always the same. Lift and then smooth. So it's kind of like I'm lifting and coming down a little bit, lifting and coming down a little bit, like a big spiral staircase, all the way down, okay? Around and around, about an inch at a time, which is why you had to clean your table, because if there was any kind of sticky stuff catching this, it'll like rip it off, okay? That's why you don't want too much of the glue with the syrup, but you have to have some. Questions? We're getting there. All right. On this is where you may find the difference with the styrofoam versus the real cake. You may be like, wow, it's not sticking. If it's not sticking, you have to get the brush and stick a little bit more syrup on the bottom. Like where it's like, if it keeps lifting every time you try to attach it, never gonna be a problem with a sticky cake, okay? But it is a problem with non-sticky styrofoam. So I can see like this little wrinkle guy, you gotta get rid of this. That's what I was gonna say. Be really careful because, you know, you're concentrating on your cake and making it look nice. And you're leaning. Guess whose buttons just leaned into the perfect top of the fondant? Made button impressions on the top of the cake. Okay, so be very conscious of like where everything is, okay? Including your uniform. Right? Unless you want buttons, but not today. So I'm getting it closer to the cake, okay? And I'm still lifting to get these silly little wrinkly things out, okay? Now, the next thing you must do is get it to like really stick to the cake. But see like how here it's like longer? It weighs more on the table. Can everybody see that? The more like you have fondant on the table because you rolled your circle too big, all right, it's gonna rip it off. If the fondant's here, there's less here. The less it is here, the more stress there is here. All right? If you see, I don't know, a problem happening like up here on the shoulder of the cake, does anybody know what we do? Put what? Oh, yeah, ultimately, sure, yes. But like, let's try to fix it first before we resort to flowers. Okay? You put Crisco, all right? Anybody ever have like stitches as a kid or anything? You know?
Not as a kid, but...
You know, you kind of like try to like give yourself some working time. The shortening that's in the fondant gives you pliability and working time. So if you're having a problem, okay, the answer is Crisco. So that's why you were given Crisco. It will be near you at all times that you're working with fondant, okay? When in doubt, the answer is Crisco. All right, what I need to do right now is cut the excess off. Okay, we're gonna take this offset and we're going to just cut the excess off. Okay, now you have to be careful to not just cut straight to the styrofoam because the way this stuff stretches, it also shrinks. And if I cut like, can you all see? If I cut like this, you'll see styrofoam. Okay, maybe where a ribbon goes or something like that, but you don't want to see like the corrugated cardboard on the real cakes, okay? So you have to cut like a pre-cut about 1 finger or centimeters worth around the edge, okay? Get the weight of any fondant that's not here off your table, okay? It can be sabotaging you like crazy. Today I can coach you through it, okay? Can't coach you through it in the practical. We're gonna have to try to figure that out. So that's why we're practicing, okay? Something will go wrong for somebody. Hopefully today, not in the practical, okay? I have to finish my edge. If it was going wrong, okay, the answer is to address the whole as a quality unit, not worry about the problem, okay? Let's just pretend for a second, let's say like this had happened to me. Oh my God! You know, it's like, you know, what do I do? Okay? Right? Well, I didn't mean to throw fondant on you. I'm sorry. Okay, what do I do? Okay, this is gonna happen to somebody someday. It happens on TV. Crisco. Okay, here, quick, grab the Crisco. Give yourself some. It's very like you can like move it from one side to the other. Okay, you spend enough patience with it, it will go away like an invisible seam, like people do like invisible mending on clothes. Okay, if it's not sticking to the styrofoam, put some more syrup underneath it, okay? You won't have a problem when you do the buttercream real cake. Okay, got a gap there. Kind of like polish it. I'm like being like a surgeon. Kind of taking some from up and some from the bottom. Almost like making like a stitch and polishing and smoothing, okay? And yeah, then I may need to put a flower, okay? But don't just, you're gonna be so upset about the problem area that you're gonna forget the whole. If you forget the whole and you have fondant here on the table, over here, now it's perfect, and you just cracked your entire side because it was too much weight on the table. Worry about it in its entirety. If it's 90% perfect, then go back to the 10% that was a problem. Do not only worry about the 10%. You're going to cause worse trouble for yourselves. Does that make sense? Okay? With a lot of patience, I can make this go away. Okay? I have to lift. I have to fix it the same way. Lifting and just a little bit of pressure, just coming around a little bit at a time. Get rid of those wrinkles, you know. All right, so you'd be surprised what you can do. Okay? You can even make like a fondant glue with a tiny bit of the fondant and water and fix like a hole. Okay? All right, if I need to do that, I should fix this first, fix my edge, and then fix the hole. The hole is there already, okay? All right, if I don't have enough like give in the fondant to polish it out, and I take a little bit of this with some water, I can make this go away, okay? But everybody gets really upset about the problems, and they don't worry about the quality of the hole, okay? So what I'm gonna do is the edge now. So can I get you on this side, please? Because you have to actually see it, okay? So remember, you don't want any accidents now. So any like gooey bits that could grab the good stuff off of there where it belongs, clean your table, okay? Like I would like a little bit almost like this off. Okay, now, remember beveling, all right, the styrofoam? You're now gonna bevel with your thumb to smooth off the corner. And what that's gonna do is a little bit at a time, I'm gonna take the excess off. Going to attach it at the bottom, okay, and it's going to smooth out it. So if I pick this up, right, you can't pick up a real cake, but you can pick this up. It's like beveled here, like smooth, just under the styrofoam without a lot of excess buildup. Like that would make the cake not lie flat. Remember how I said like with the foil to make it like not building up? You want everything to lie flat. So you are at the edge of the table, it's maybe an inch off at the most, okay? Occasionally, sometimes people put it on something smaller than itself. You'll see people even sometimes use a turntable for this, but it depends on the size of the cake. Like if it was a 16-inch cake and it's bigger than the turntable, I think a turntable makes sense because it lets you get some support in there. But for this is fine on the table. Okay, so you're worrying still about the entirety where the problem was. If it's bothering you, we could still go back and work on it, but you have to get everybody happy first. Questions while I'm going around? If it's not attaching, kind of here, it's kind of flipping up. What do I do?
Add more syrup.
Yeah, where's the syrup? Right behind you. Can I have the syrup thing? Okay, thanks. You don't want to like to be swimming in it. You don't want to walk in tomorrow and find your fondant melted off, okay? Because of excess moisture. Just a little bit, like glue, okay? And when you're all done, you won't have any excess on the cake. It'll all be beveled off without any excess underneath. It'll be attaching itself pretty well to the styrofoam. We're gonna help it really attach now. Next. And this extra stuff, just wrap it up because you don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm going to show you how to make like an edible ribbon using an embossing rolling pin. Maybe you want one of those. Maybe you need one to know one because a client, somebody orders one for you. So it's something we show you. You don't have to put it on your cake. If you were even thinking of putting an edible ribbon on your real cake, you want to practice today or tomorrow because this is the only day we ever practice with the fondant before 99. And then you're in it.
So
okay.
Today and tomorrow are the only fondant days?
Yep. It's actually today. Today is the only fondant day. Okay, and you're supposed to just cover the styrofoam, but we gave you an extra cake so you can have 2 projects. That's why we had to go get another bucket. Okay. Okay, it's pretty attached, okay? There, maybe here it's lifting and I have to like work with that, with the star thing. You wanna make sure you don't have fondant underneath it, okay? The other thing that must happen now is about the most important thing that's happened. Remember, all of this is within 5 minutes from like when it's exposed to the air from the bucket. 5 minutes, okay? You have to take your fondant smoothers, and if you didn't have them, in a pinch, you have to use your hand. But opposing force is better than just like one, okay? And you need to attach the fondant to the cake. If the fondant does not attach to the cake really firmly, you come in here tomorrow and it blew out a bubble, okay? I'll remind you of this when we actually ice the cakes on 97.